Hello, welcome to a slightly different video. After many requests, I have been asked to do a full tour of my VW campervan. In this episode, I'll go through all of the specs of the outside of the van and what it's composed of, as well as the conversion that's been done on the inside and everything that can be used for camping. So aside from the pop-top roof being up, this is essentially how my van looks in the day-to-day driving that I do. And what that means is essentially the back seats are upright, the front seats are all facing forward, the tables are all stowed away, and there's loads of space in the middle of the van, more than a 1 metre square pallet that I can get in here for dumping all my bushcraft gear and camping gear and any logs and things that I take back and forward to and from my woodland. All the curtains are open, and normally the pop-top roof would be down. The front is fairly self-explanatory, just a driver's seat and 2 passenger seats. That's on a swivel system, 7-speed auto with the DSG gearbox, which is really good, dual speed gearbox. Infotainment system and everything like you would get in a lot of modern day cars, being 2021. It's all sat nav and Apple CarPlay and things like that. So essentially it's like any day-to-day van. But now let's turn it into camping mode. So this passenger seat is on a swivel system. It sits on a base plate. There's 4 bolts to this side, to that side. You undo the bolts and then you're able to swivel the chair around. That can then be secured back in with the bolts. So that's where the bolts sit in. And then you line it all up, take the bolts off their little resting lugs, glue those up tight on both sides. So now these seats are facing the rear of the campervan and there's loads of space still in front of me. There is this small table here which swivels round. See, wherever you kind of want it really, locks in there. Get it level. So this is just handy. I can look out here if I'm parked by the coast or near a woodland like I am today. I can just look out, leave the door open and enjoy the view. This is great, I found, for when we're camping with the kids. One of the kids can sit here and it's just the right height for them because they're really little. So they can just hop up here and they can eat their breakfast and cereal and things like that. Handy little table to also do video editing on the go on the laptop. There is also a second table which I won't get out today, but I'll show you the rail system that it sits on. I'll overlay some footage now. That's the main kind of dining table that attaches to the kitchen. But this is just handy, and the whole thing comes out as well if you want it to sort of save space. But first things first, it's quite dark in here. I have a power management system over here. All I need to do is press the lights here and that turns on the main lights all around the camper van, just around the edges, and also these top reading lights here, which are for the upstairs bedroom, which is above me here. This all folds down as a bed, but for now it just gives me headroom. All these lights are touch sensitive to turn on and off if you only want a few on, or if you're reading at night and you want to have just one light, you can turn one light on if you want to. Whilst we're over here in the power management corner, I'll just show you what other things there are. So this is the button for the water tap. This turns the pump on in the water tank so I can run water through the sink. This runs all the cupboard lights and a bar light that's down here. If I press that on now, you will see there. It's just a nice ambient backlight to have across the back of the kind of kitchen area, and it also lights up all of these cupboards here. There's all small lights when that's turned on, and it's the same for every cupboard. There's a small LED in each cupboard that lights up. There it is, just up there. Same again in here, there'll be a small light on just up there, and it helps see all the cupboards in the dark and see what you're trying to find, and that's what that one does. Over here we have buttons for the water tank level. It says here I'm a third empty, so it lets me know in 4 stages of when I need to, that goes red for refill, when I need to refill the water, and that's 3 out of 3 for when the water tank is full. This picture here is the leisure battery. It says here that it's on full charge, there's 3 lights on, and the one above is the vehicle battery, I've not run my Campervan for a while actually, so it's only on 2, it needs a charge up, but that's just my management system so I can see the display of how much battery is left on each of the features. This here is out of battery, but it's basically a portable thermometer and humidity detector. It just tells me what the humidity and temperatures like inside the van itself. It's just nice to know. I've attached it with this small sticky back magnet, and it just sticks on the back here next to the other controls. When I'm hooked up to the mains electric, or the grid as some of you guys call it across the pond, when I'm hooked up, I've got 2 hookup main sockets here, 2 40-volt sockets here, and there's also a socket here which has USB 1 amps and 2.1 amps 5-volt ports just here. As well as that, I have a wireless phone charging pad here that I can pop my phone on at night to let it charge when I'm sleeping. This whole top section above the kitchen here is storage. There are 3 different cupboards. It's all one cupboard section. There's 3 doors and they open and they rest like that. And there's actually quite a lot of storage all the way along there, which I haven't used much of at the moment, but that's where I keep cups and spoons and things like that. This here is a grill. I've used this quite a lot actually. It's really handy. There's a tray just here with adjustable heights. You can either have it on the bottom or slightly higher, with a small grill that sits on top of it to raise your food up. I've baked in this, I've grilled in this, and it's really handy. It's run by gas, which we'll talk about in a minute, but that's the gas there, and you have 2 settings, low and high. There's also this protection guard here, and that just stops all of the top area here melting from any of the heat that comes out of the grill. There's ventilation up here as well, and this part of the door is magnetic to that, so it just sits so you can leave your grill open and cook your food as evenly as possible. When you want to put it away, take that off the magnet, push that back when it's cooled down, close it up, and you can drive off, providing you turn the gas off. Down here is the fridge, and this is a Dometic fridge. It's built in to the unit, and actually it's really quite spacious. It's a 42 watt fridge. I'm not sure on the exact literage. There's also, it's not technically a freezer, but you can get it to freeze just up here in the top section. I don't run this fridge on full at all. I don't find the need to. It actually stays cool throughout the year, this. So often I'll only put it on setting number 1 or 2, and that will keep it cold enough with the compressor in there. A rack here, which is adjustable, goes on different levels. You've got bits that fold out. If you want to put tool items through here, the rack folds up. You can put like things like milk through there, or if you want to have all that storage at the top, you can put that down. But that's been really handy. Storage for glass and things in this section, and adjustable bits up here to adjust for your storage up here, depending what you want to put in there. I often put eggs and things up there and keep that nice and tight so they don't bounce out. Again, to save on the compressor, I only run it maximum on the 3rd setting, if not the 2nd setting, because I find that gets cold enough. I never run it on max because it will just drain the leisure battery. So often I only need it about halfway. Once obviously the car's running, it's on the alternator, it will be constantly charging that leisure battery. But there's also other ways that this gets charged as well, which I will show you. This is an interesting feature. There's this little, essentially plastic spike just here. What that means is when you're not using your fridge and you don't want it to smell, if you keep it shut all the time, it's going to keep all the smell in. So there's on the door here, there's 2 settings, there's 2 holes. Put that spike just through the first kind of grommet here. That turns off the light, enough to turn off the light. You can see that go off there. But it's also enough to keep the fridge open and air so that it doesn't smell all the time. And then when you've got food in here and you're camping and you're going off grid for a while, then you can lift that up, totally close the fridge, and that keeps it all secure. The fridge won't open when you're driving around. That's a really useful feature. This here is the rail for the main table, and I can adjust it and move it back and forward, and that's usually where I'll eat from the main dining table, and I'll store that down the side here. Down here we have the diesel heater, which is built into the diesel engine. It's all kind of plumbed in as such. It's a bit dusty at the moment. I need to clean that. But I can adjust the direction of flow of where I want the air to come out of. But that's where the heat all comes in from the hot air, and then its exhaust goes on a pipe to the outside of the van, which I'll show you now. This is the diesel heater outlet. That's where the fuel burns for the diesel heater, and that's where it comes out. It's very quiet and it burns barely any fuel. You really don't notice it when the diesel heater is going. You don't even hear it outside very loud at all. That's brilliant. That diesel heater is one of the best things to have. Down here are 2 large storage cupboards, plenty of space in here. I'll often just keep all my cooking gear in this one. Loads of cooking gear, pots, pans, plates, bowls. You've also got the gas work pipes. I'll show you. Cut off valves if you need to cut off the gas. Just there. 2 ways of cutting off the gas, but I cut it off on the outside. There is also storage in this one, and inside, I'll just turn the brightness up. You might just be able to see down here, but there's quite a bit of storage in this cupboard. But also down here, if I lift that up, that is where the water tank is. That's where the water tank is. I think it's a 20-litre water tank. That's not where I fill it up from, but this is where you can check for any problems with the pump and things like that. That's where the water's all stored. And if you need to add any kind of chlorinator, cleaner or anything like that to that, that's where I'd add it. And there's the access to the top of the pump and the pipes where it comes out. So let's talk sleeping arrangements. When I'm here with my family, there's 4 of us, myself, my wife, and our 2 young children, and our dog as well. 2 of us sleep upstairs, up on the top bunk, and 2 sleep on the downstairs bit. At the moment, my wife sleeps down with our little boy down here, and I sleep up here with our little girl. This is the bed. Here. And this folds right down and sits just on this lip here. So at the moment, I've got loads of headroom when I'm cooking and using the kitchen area. There's also space here to let light in. Basically windows, they are sealed, they're not open, you can't open them, but they let lots of light in and you can see outside quite easily. But they're really handy for when you're camping and sleeping up in the top as well. And when it's rainy, at the top up here, there's another window here, there's 3, and there's also an actual open mesh vent here to stop any condensation building up. And that goes all the way along the top up there. So as for this bed, it just goes like this. Sits there, and that is the top bunk. It is surprisingly spacious up here. I will tell you that, it's very spacious. That cable there at the back is quite a bit further than you think. Your feet don't touch it. This is just a retention strap, but that is the power cable for the solar panel, which goes straight into charge up the leisure battery. Then you've got these handles here to pull it all down, and you've got your reading lights in the corner. This is a really comfy mattress. If I just show you, it's about nearly 2 inches thick, kind of memory foam mattress, really comfortable. When you want more headroom, you just lift it up. And there we go. It works on these 2 gas struts. They're really powerful. Okay, here's just the work surface. This is another Dometic setup, and here it's a bit dirty at the moment because I've used it recently. This is a double gas hob, and then here is the sink. There's the plug, just goes on the sink. If I turn that on, pumps on. Now I can come over to the tap, and we have running water. Now that drains outside, and I'll show you where. There's a window that opens here for ventilation when cooking, which I tend to open. And I also, this isn't come with the van, but it's a clip-on fan essentially, battery operated, USB charged. It's dead at the moment, but I turn that on and that actually oscillates on its own, just rotates, and it just moves all the air around so it doesn't get so hot and all the steam from the cooking gets moved around at least and not fogging up the windows. Here is another large storage area under the seats, and in that I keep a spare sleeping bag, the water bottle that I fill up the water tank with, portable shower over there, and just any old storage goes under here. There's actually quite a lot of space that goes all the way through to the back. And here's the cool thing. So you've seen the upstairs bunk, as we like to call it in our family. This is the downstairs bed. There's a little latch here, pull it down, give that a push and just kneel on it. And there we go. Put the seat belts, tuck them down out of the way. And it's a nice big bed. So I can stretch all the way back here. Loads of room for a pillow. Still loads of, if you're 6 foot, you'd still easily have room with your feet at the end. Loads of room to the side. Yeah, it's brilliant. From here, I can still access all of the cupboards at the top. I can get to all the cooking, the sink, all my power management system I can still get to, and a cupboard here which goes to the boot, the back, but you can access it from the side as well. All around the camper van, on every window bar the front in the cab, are these curtains. Be secured with these little curtain ties, but they're on a rail system, so they're really easy to open and close. And then you've got that nighttime privacy when you don't want anyone to look in and your lights are on the inside. Big old tailgate door, which I like. You can get the barn doors. I like the tailgate purely because I can stand under here when it's raining and not get wet. There's also lots of storage under here. I tend to keep just a camping chair, really accessible. And this is a duvet, which is essentially my duvet and mattress in one. It's brilliant. I really like it. It's joined together, and there's still loads of space under there as well. But I tend to put that straight away on this bed up here, and then I've got at least an inch thick soft mattress and the duvet attached to it. Really good. I like that. And I also keep my power cable here for the electric hookups. I plug that into the side of the van and then into the campsite electricity, and I can charge up the batteries. I also have this adapter with a mains plug so that I can plug that in to my mains garage and plug that in to the camper van, and then I can charge up my camper van leisure battery during the winter months when I'm not using it as much, although I do use it as a daily drive, so it tends to charge all the time. So that's handy there. Here is really important. This is where the gas is kept. It's in this steel box with a rubber seal that's secured with a rubber seal all around here in case there's any gas leaks. I do have a carbon monoxide alarm and smoke alarm inside as well. There is a regulator on this, and it's just a regular sort of camping gas bottle that you get in camp shops. Easy enough to change and take out as well. And that's where the gas is all stored. To put the bed up, get the seat belts back round, out the way because they're going to slide back up again. Pull that lever down, the bed pops, slides back. Oh, you can take the umbrella with you if you want. And then, boom, back to normal seats again. This is actually a really important cupboard. This is the one that I could access from the side over here when the door's shut, but I can also access it from the outside. And this is where the power is. So as you can see, this is where the things like the solar charger is. It's not charging at the moment because it's a grey day and I'm parked under the woods. Fuse box as well. So any of the fuses trip, I'll know that from here. For things like the fridge and things like that, that's all secured here. I've got spare fuses. The same up here. This is where all the fuses are up there. I've got things like a booster for when I need to boost the battery if ever it goes dead, portable one. I've got towing cables, I've got roof straps, I've got a tool kit, more roof straps and towing cables. Everything recovery wise is in these pouches, and that just stores here for when I need them. There's still lots of storage in this cupboard as well. A lot of people have these cupboards for like coat hangers and coats and jackets and things, but I like it like that. So out here, this is the electric hookup. That's what I was just talking about, where the cable goes when I'm either at a campsite or charging it up from home. That goes there. And then this is locked at the moment, but this is where I will pour in my water. It takes 20 litres in the tank in there. I can also carry extra water in there should I need to. 20 litres surprisingly doesn't last very long when you've got 4 of you and there's 2 kids. So just down here, but below the Camper King logo, you might just be able to see it if I can. You can just see that, it says outlet there. That is, if you look on here, that's the water outlet. I'm draining all the grey water from the sink. I'll have a bucket or a small tub here that collects all the grey water, the dirty water that comes out. And when I'm driving, I'll have that closed. So that's everything on the interior of the van. Now let me just talk you through some of the exterior things that I actually got added to once the van had been converted. First off, down here is the tow hitch. This is actually a detachable tow hitch. There is a lock here and a lever and a key, and I can put that in there and pull this whole tow hitch out if I don't want the tow hitch. Personally, I keep it on. That way, if anyone drives too close to me, at least they're gonna crunch their bumper on the tow hitch and not my car. But this is a detachable one should you want it. You don't want to keep banging your knee on it. For those that don't like that, that's what's there. There's the electrics for the tow hitch, just under there. I actually have a bike rack that I got from Camper King, which I use on here. It carries 4 bikes for the family, and that's brilliant. And also I can tow small trailers and things as well. These are Tomahawk alloy wheels, matte black. I really like these. I went with the BF Goodrich all-terrain tyres. This isn't a 4-wheel drive van. It's one of the biggest downsides actually. It's a 2-wheel drive, but when you're on campsites where it's just grass and it's wet and it's boggy, it's surprising how slippy it can get. These do help get you out in a pinch. They're not going to go up clay tracks like in my woodland. Unfortunately, I can't get up there in this without 4-wheel drive. It's the biggest flaw. The thing is, 4-wheel drive camper vans or vans in general, the 4Motion ones, for VW are so expensive. They are really expensive when you go 4-wheel drive. So yeah, it's probably the biggest downfall of this whole van is that it's not 4-wheel drive. But these have been brilliant. They've helped me out a lot in times where the road tyres just wouldn't have cut it. Yeah, I'm a massive fan of these, and I've got 4 of those. The roof, you can just about see it, is a 60-watt solar panel. It's kind of a flexi panel that goes down the middle of the van just there, and that is what charges up the leisure battery almost all of the time. That's constantly charging. That charges most days, most sunny days, and even on overcast days like today when I'm not under the trees. That's always keeping that leisure battery topped up, and it's nice to have that backup, especially when I'm parked up for a while and I'm using the fridge. That thing just helps keep it running a lot longer than without having it, and it doesn't really get in the way. It's not bulky, it's flat to the roof. You can also see I've had some roof rails installed, and I've got 2 roof bars. They're Turtle, I think they're called Turtle roof bars. Those roof bars have been ideal for things like my canoe and my kayak. General pieces of wood that I take on building when I'm building things and I need to use long pieces of lumber. Those roof bars have been really useful. They can't take a huge amount of weight because of the pop top. I can't have too much weight on there, but it's enough to get by. Again, it's a bit of a big downfall for me because I carry a lot of things on the roof of my car normally. Previously I had a Land Rover Defender, and I do miss it because of the stuff that it could carry and the weight that it could take and the off-road capabilities. I miss it, I do. But this is brilliant for camping with kids and stuff. I love it. Finally, I think the last exterior addition I got was I took out the original Transporter headlights. They are absolutely atrocious. They're like, you might as well hold a candle in front of your face. They're really bad. I think they were halogen bulbs, I'm not sure, but just terrible. So these are the Transporter HQ, the T6.1 headlights that they do, the LED ones. They're really good, really powerful, great range, great wide beam. Super pleased with them. If you have a van, camper van, especially a Transporter, and you have poor headlights and you're not happy with them, highly recommend the Transporter HQ ones. They're brilliant. So that was another addition that I got. Well worth it, that one. To work the diesel heater is the Webasto one. I just press this button here, let it turn on. You can set the temperature with this dial, 19. You can go all the way down to kind of 8 degrees, 5 degrees if you want it really cold in the summer, all the way up to 35 degrees Celsius. It's blowing out slightly cold air at the moment just while the diesel heater heats up, and then that will start to blow out really warm air, and it's lovely. Makes a massive difference. It's really nice in the winter months, in the cold months when you wake up in the morning and you're able to fire up that diesel heater. It's so good. And you don't even have to have it on heat. You can put it on fan mode. You can set a timer as well, so 30 minutes. And that's as long as the timer goes. I think you can set it to infinity as well. And then you've got fan mode here for just vent. That's the power of the fan, like that. You've got all your settings there. You can set timers. You can have it on weekdays. You can set the units. It's brilliant. It's a really, really good heater. And then finally above me here is an awning. It comes out about 2 meters, and I store the awning pole just here. Just down the side of the driver's seat here in some clips. That's where the awning pole is stored. Just take that out. Fits in this socket just here. You wind it, and then the awning comes out. That awning is also something that is really, really useful, and I've used a fair amount over the last 2 years. It's great. It's a great piece of kit. It gives you a lot of area out here, especially when you've got kids, to keep them out of the rain, but they can sort of play outside as such. Pheasant. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. For those that wanted to see it, I hope you gained something from it and got some ideas maybe of things that you could do to your camper van. This was a Camper King conversion. I'll put a link to Camper King in the description below. That's it. That is a tour of my VW T6.1 2021 Transporter camper van. Do I have any regrets about this van? I would say the fact that it's not four-wheel drive really, really bugs me for the type of living that I do, where I have to go up down into the woods all the time, and it's killer not having four-wheel drive. In terms of, so the four-wheel drive capability, the clearance on it being a van is quite low. I could get it lifted, but there's sort of no point where it's not four-wheel drive. It would suit having a lift, it needs it, but it's still a great daily drive on the roads. It's actually, for a van, quite nice to drive. It's really comfortable. The downsides are, where it's been converted, is you don't have any ventilation in terms of, in the hot months, for the kids in the back seats. They don't really get much air ventilation or AC going back to them, which is why I've got that little fan and things. It can't take too much weight on the roof is another big downside for me. I carry lots of things on the roof of my vehicles. In terms of camping, it is brilliant. It is so good for camping, especially in a vehicle. If you're camping in a vehicle, these are ideal. It's actually quite tricky camping with 4 of us in here. We ended up getting just a big 4-person tent because we can all stand up in it. The kids can run around in it. Whereas this, when you're all in it, all 4 of you at the same time, it's actually really cramped. Even with a drive-away awning, which is like an awning that attaches to here, where you can go in and out, it's a bit of a faff having to put the awning up, zip it all up, get level with it, and then drive off. And in the end, a 4-person tent just suits our type of camping with the kids. But we've done a lot of family camping in it, and it has been good, especially, again, cold, rainy months. It's nice to be in a warm camper van. But for me, I had a Land Rover Defender before. It was a 90, it was a short wheelbase. I pulled out the back seats and put a drawer in. I probably shouldn't have done that, because if I'd have kept the back seats in, I think I'd have kept the vehicle. But I think what's more suited to me is something like a Land Rover Defender 110, the old style versions. Maybe watch this space, who knows. Still love my camper van though, it's been brilliant. Hope you've enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you guys real soon.